There's just something about black coffee first thing in the morning that just warms my heart and just gets me going. All right, let's get to it. So we started this mini cut at 201 pounds, and we've been averaging a low for the past 3 days of 196.6 pounds. In my opinion, that's a pretty good start for under 2 weeks to lose anywhere between 6 to 7 pounds. Now keep in mind, some of that is water weight and some of that is actual body fat. Now after checking in with Coach, I'm not really too sure anymore what his approach is to this mini cut, because in my opinion, my calories are still pretty high and we're not doing any cardio, and I'll get into that in just a few. But when I think of a mini cut, and especially with my clients, I think fast. I think a short period of time. I think aggressive, because we're trying to lose as much body fat in a short period of time so that we can get back into what really matters, which is a growing phase. Listen, I'm not complaining, I'm not prescribed any cardio, but doesn't mean I'm not doing any cardio. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not what I'm saying. And again, I'll get back into that, sickos. In the meantime, let's see what progress we've made. Wow, this is so good. All right, now let's get into the fun stuff, which I'm pretty sure is what most people want to know: my calories and macros. How much am I eating to get myself in a calorie deficit to losing some body fat? But before we dive in, I do want to say I don't suggest you trying to copy my calories and macros, because what works for me may not work for you. But what I do suggest is to take everything I say into consideration, listen for any tips that I give, and look at the foods that I'm eating to create my meal plan that are helping me get into a calorie deficit, so you can do the same for you. All right, so at the peak of my bulk, I was averaging about 4,200 calories, and my macros were 250 grams of protein, 560 grams of carbs, and 100 grams of fat. Now, we sliced that up a bit, and for the mini cut, as of right now, we're consuming an average of 3,200 calories. My macros are 215 grams of protein, 430 grams of carbs, and 80 grams of fat. So you can see the difference in calories and you can see the difference in macros. Now it's been pretty easy, pretty smooth, honestly. Like I said in week 1, a nice break and a step back from food, especially from protein. That is a lot of protein for someone that is currently 196 pounds, but usually 175 at my normal weight. Stage weight is usually about 165. So what I'm trying to say is you don't need that much protein. A good rule of thumb is to always get at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. I would say lean muscle mass, but most people don't really know that unless you go get tested and get your body fat tested and all that fun stuff. So a good rule of thumb, 1 gram per pound of body weight. 215, 250 is clearly over my 1 gram per pound of body weight, but having a little bit more protein definitely helps, definitely gets the body moving, burns a little bit more calories. And when you're trying to be in a calorie deficit, protein is the most satiating macronutrient, so you can never go wrong with a little bit more protein. All right, now let's get into meal 1. Now, one thing I wanted to mention before we get into meal 1 is if you don't have an app where you can track your calories and macros, I highly suggest downloading one. I use MyFitnessPal. I know there's a few others, but especially the ones that you can scan barcodes, it makes things so much easier when trying to track. And what I like to do is I usually make my meal plans the night before. That way the next morning I know exactly what I'm gonna eat and I don't have to stress about and think about, what am I gonna eat today? So I'm actually doing that right now because yesterday was Sam's birthday. We went out. And I don't have anything tracked, so I'm trying to figure that out right now. But today's not going to be a full day of eating. I'll show you some of my meals today, but I kind of just want to talk more about my calories and macros and the game plan on what I'm doing to losing some body fat, which I'm sure can help everybody here. So let's get to it. right, so diving right into meal number one and starting late per usual on filming days, we have 4 whole eggs, 150 grams of egg whites for more protein, and deli sliced turkey breast for even more protein. Now, typically I like to have 3 slices of turkey bacon, and for me, it's just the perfect texture and saltiness that the turkey bacon provides compared to that floppy, soft texture that deli sliced meat provides. Then we have some cream of rice and PB2. For those of you who don't know, PB2 is the low-calorie dieting version of peanut butter with less fat and more protein. And then as you guys can see, I like to sprinkle in some sriracha on top of my eggs. Now, let's dive into the game plan on what I'm currently doing to making sure I'm in a calorie deficit. Number one, plain and simple. I'm sticking to my macros daily. And for those of you who haven't seen my recent video on how I lost 60 pounds, I talk about my current diet and the diet I've been following for the past few years, if it fits your macros. In my opinion, it's the perfect balance and flexibility, which allows me to change up my meal plans and enjoy foods that I like into my diet. Number two, I'm weighing myself daily so I can see the trends and making sure that my body's responding well to my overall calories and macros. Number three, I'm going to the gym about 4 to 5 times a week, and I'll get into that once we go hit our leg day, and I'll dive into telling you what my training routine looks like at the moment and why it's recently changed. And the most important one, and why I feel like we've been losing weight at a relatively good rate, I've been playing pickleball 3 to 4 times a week. I recently just picked it up about 2 months ago, and I absolutely love it. I burn so much calories because I'm there for like 3 to 4 hours, and I've always said, find some type of cardio that you enjoy. Why? Because you'll be more willing to do it than just going on the treadmill or Stairmaster, especially if you don't enjoy doing it. So, this is meal number one. Like I said, today's not really gonna be like a full day of eating video, but I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing and what I have for the rest of the day. Currently gonna continue to watch my Dragon Ball. I appreciate for those of you who left comments. I saw Demon Slayer and Attack of the Titans is something I should watch. So I'll definitely get into that next once I finish with Dragon Ball.
Gosh, thank you.
Damn it.
You're deeply...
I forgot my fork. Well. Soft meat. I like it harder. That's weird. Cut that out. And we are back. So I managed to sneak out of the house because it has been thunderstorming / pouring for the past hour and a half, which sucks because Tuesdays are usually my pickleball day. So I'm not really sure if that's going to happen today, but I hope that the courts dry up. But something I did see was in the back of my house, I have the golf course, and it was flooded. Like, I have yet to see it like that since I moved here in November. And for those of you who have been following me for a long time know that when I see a flooded golf course, I'm usually grabbing my skimboard and I'm going out there shredding. It's probably one of the funnest things to do. I used to always do that at my parents' house back in Miami. But I figured that if I did that, which I was really close to, here in Stewart, things are a little bit different, and someone probably would have called the cops on me, and well, that would have been the end of G. So we're here outside the gym in the parking lot getting ready for leg day. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about was a little bit about my training routine, what I'm currently doing, and the things that I've changed. So I feel like over the years, I've actually been training less and less and less off experience and then just listening to my body. So I feel like at one point I was training 7 days a week because I thought you had to. Then I was training 6 days a week, which was cool, but I feel like I needed a little bit more rest. Then I started training 5 days a week, and I feel like for me that was a sweet spot. But recently, these past 5 to 6 weeks, I've actually been training 4 days a week, and by choice. I feel like I was very overworked, overstimulated, and just overstressed both physically and mentally. And I feel like I wasn't producing what I wanted to here in the gym. So I decided to take a step back, focus a little bit more on recovery, and actually focus on the days that I'm actually training, make them very intense. And honestly, it worked out really well. It gave me the break that I needed to then come back and want it a little bit more. So now I'm back at 5 days a week with 2 rest days. So here's my routine. Mondays are more like a push day. Focus on chest, focus on side delts. I think as a competitor for men's physique, that's what they're looking for. And then I sprinkle in some biceps and some triceps like you guys saw in week 1, just because I'm playing catch up now that my tricep is healing. Tuesdays like today, it's a full long leg day. Wednesdays is a full rest day because Monday and Tuesday I trained really hard. So I want to make sure I recover Wednesday so I can get right back into my important muscle groups Thursday and Friday. Thursday is more of a pull day. I focus on my back and rear delts. Friday, I'm right back into Monday, chest, side delts. That's it. And then now Saturday, I started last week, a full-on arm day focusing on biceps, triceps, and some forearms. So now that my tricep is healing, I'm sprinkling that frequency back in there, and we'll see how it goes throughout the weeks, but I'm almost feeling like 92% or 93%, better than last week. Last week was like 90%. So I'm feeling really good. And I'm just glad to be fully back. So really enjoying this like mini prep, taking a step back from food, focusing on getting back in here, on healing, and then gonna give it my absolute all for whatever's left of the bulk before going into prep next year. So I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. I'm gonna show you a little bit of my leg day, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, legend status, ask about the name. I've been putting in work, collecting, fuck the fame. Up in the stat while they watching, attending the game. Either you in it or just a critic, man, we ain't the same. I'm focused on making this history. Into my top 5 list is listing me. I never got an L on pass, this ain't no breeze. I had to make the workout last, the bill of steam is different degrees. And know I do this here with the ease, it never been easy. Slim, just keep one up the sleeve. I saw a few that had the passion, succumb to the greed. But I keep forward here, the goal is near this song. It's more for ears that know what's still to come. I walked inside to find no weapon form. Then looked inside the eye, withstood the storm. But I know temptation waits for years and all. It's a lot of money on the line for this. If we get everybody jumping in the crowd. My partner said he probably put somebody in the ground for this. We used to talk about it, but I leave it now. Now I need $100,000 for my confidence. $100,000 for my confidence. Look, everybody got prices and other vices. I took a chance through the dices and got a nice hit. Was on the clock with security running the night shift. And then I got a DM of some changing your life shit. Then I wait for it and then I pray for it. I just be hoping it ain't tame what I paid for it. They say you never be as pure as your first form. And sights never be as clear as you first saw them. That's why I'm elevating and constantly meditating. Gotta keep my mind right, not waiting on hindsight. I never sacrifice the art for the limelight. And no surround with who only show the highlights. I spent 20-something years in the twilight. And I swear look a whole lot like the spotlight. Really, it's a lot of money on the line for this. If we get everybody jumping in the crowd. My partner said he probably put somebody in the ground for this. We used to talk about it, but I leave it now. Now I need $100,000 for my confidence.
I am so hungry right now. Believe it or not, this is only meal number 2. Like I've said, filming days just never goes as planned for me. Today's leg day, I don't know what happened. It was so intense. I think I was trying to move at a really fast pace. I kept my rest really short, and that's what made it more intense. But one thing I quickly wanted to mention is over the years, I've learned that doing less is more. So in other words, just because you're doing more doesn't mean you're getting more done. I used to always think that doing 4 to 5 sets per every exercise was the way to go, and I would still do it, but I've seen much more success these past few years when I've brought the volume down and really upped the intensity and the execution of my exercises. So now I only do about 2 to 3 really hard working sets. There's always warm-ups prior to the working sets, and that's why I call them working sets, because I might do 5 sets, but the first 2 were warm-ups or feel sets, just so I kind of gauge where I should be at for my rep range that I'm looking for. And then really 2 to 3 hard working sets all out, really close to failure, and if not, at failure. But one thing I'm proud of that I wanted to show you guys today was a little leg transformation since 2021 when I started this whole men's physique journey. You can see here my full body, my chest, my shoulders, but more so my legs. And then seeing them now a few years later, it really comes to show that patience, consistency, sticking to the plan, trusting the process, and trusting the bulk really works. So that's pretty much it for today. I hope you guys got something out of the video. If there's anything you guys want to see during this process, please let me know in the comments below. I think next week I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a grocery haul plus a full day of eating so you guys can see everything that I'm eating, and then hopefully I can give you guys some more valuable tips, hopefully on your next or your current cut. So I got a quick meal here of ground beef, mixture of ground beef and ground turkey, some rice, a lot of water. I think I'm gonna go out there and try my best to play some pickleball because it hasn't rained for the past 2 hours, but the court still might be a little wet, but we'll see. So I still gotta do some cardio just because I love it. So as always, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I love you guys. I'm glad to be back. Comment down below. Let's chat, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, baby.